January 6, 2021 is one of those days that we'll all remember exactly where we were on that day when we saw what happened at the Capitol. On January 6, 2021, I was at the DMV with my daughter. She was getting her driver's license, so she was taking her driver's test, and I was waiting for her to return. So I turned on my phone and I started seeing videos of the insurrectionists at the Capitol, climbing the walls, trying to go through, pepper spraying police officers, chasing one police officer through the rotunda. And I remember thinking, this is absolutely nuts. I posted videos of that day on my Facebook page. I remember people I knew who were on the right, people who were Republicans, were saying things like, they need to slap the crap out of that insurrectionist. I hope that police officer turns around and shoots that guy. I can't believe these guys. They're disrespectful to this country. They're disrespectful to the flag. This is horrible. This is what Republicans were saying. I remember that because I remember thinking, dang, we all agree this is horrible. We all agree people should be able to peacefully protest, but we all thought what they were doing on that day was horrible. And there were many members of Congress on the right who thought and said the exact same things. It is really horrible and disrespectful to see those same people now applauding those insurrectionists being pardoned and released by Donald Trump and his administration. Absolutely disrespectful. And I think Michael Fanone, one of the police officers at the Capitol on that day, who was assaulted by insurrectionists, really puts in perspective just how disrespectful having these guys pardoned and released absolutely is.
Tonight, 6 individuals who assaulted me as I did my job on January 6th, as did hundreds of other law enforcement officers, will now walk free. My family, my children, and myself are less safe today because of Donald Trump and his supporters. I've been concerned for myself and my family's safety ever since I testified before Congress. If you remember, I didn't even make it through my congressional testimony before I received my first threat from a member of the American public who called me and threatened my life literally as I was giving testimony. And those threats have continued to this day against both myself and members of my family. In recent months, my mother has been swatted, a 76-year-old woman who's guilty of nothing other than having a son, a police officer who responded to the Capitol on January 6th. And she's also had human feces thrown on her while she was raking leaves in her front yard.
And remember, we all saw the video when he was testifying of him being assaulted and basically pleading with the people for his life. He was saying things to them like, I have a daughter at home. I have children. I have a wife who loves me. Please, guys, don't do this. I'm a police officer. He was pleading with them. Those people who made him plead for his life were released by Donald Trump and his administration. Marco Rubio, who is now in Donald Trump's cabinet, was asked, hey, on the day of that day, you said you were mad about that. It was horrible. How do you feel about that now? The fact that they can't just be honest and say, you know what? I didn't really like the idea of pardoning these people who were violent. And I thought Donald Trump wasn't going to do that. But hey, he did it and I'm in his administration. No. They're just towing the line 100%, and Marco Rubio should really be ashamed of himself, and they all should be, but we know they want, but we know that they won't, but we know that history will not be happy, will not be very generous to these people, because what they're doing is absolutely disgraceful.
I hear you, but in February 2021, even you issued a statement, and you said the images of the attack stirred up anger in you. The nation was embarrassed in the eyes of the world by our own citizens. How do you personally reconcile those feelings with the pardons that he did yesterday? I understand you have work to do in the job as far as there are many things, but on this particular issue, I'm curious about what you're thinking.
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking is that I used to be a United States Senator until midnight last night, and now I'm about to be sworn in as the Secretary of State of the United States. And that's what I'm thinking is I work for Donald J. Trump, the new President of the United States, the 47th President, who has a clear mandate to reorient our foreign policy to one that once again puts America and our interests at the center. And that's what I'm going to focus on, 100%.
Listen, you bootlicking sellout. You work for the American people, not Donald Trump. And that's why you should always speak out against that horrible day in American history that was orchestrated by Donald Trump, who has now pardoned the people who carried out that violent act. Goodness. But you know, these people are just horrible because you were asked a simple question. How do you feel about a day that you said was a bad day? Answer the question. But you know, this is what they're all going to do. Listen to this dingbat, Lauren Boebert, answer a question about this as well.
I would certainly be willing to give them a guided tour. There's no plan right now.
There's no plan. Okay.
I give guided tours to people from all over America all the time.
What do you say to critics who say you're bringing back the people who were part of the crime here?
Well, I mean, the Capitol police officers are who took down barricades and gates and open doors are here, and they've been here ever since.
She said she would be willing to give a guided tour to the pieces of shit who had her and her colleagues hiding out from them. Oh my God, these people are horrible people. And then she says, well, the Capitol police officers who opened the doors and moved the barricades, they've been here ever since. They didn't go in there and threaten to harm and kill people like yourself. You know what? I'm just going to fucking say it. I wish they would have gotten in those doors. I wish they would have gotten to them. Unfortunately, they didn't, and we don't know what would have happened, but I would have loved to see what happened if they got there and what these people would be saying today. And then you have their Messiah, the orange man himself, who was asked, are you okay with people assaulting police officers? And he says, no, I'm not. And so then they say, then why did you pardon people who assaulted police officers? And his ass pivots to some shit that has nothing to do with it. And it's all because they do not like police officers. They don't care about them at all. It's always been a show to them.
The executive orders, you would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer.
Sure.
Right? So then if I can, among those you pardoned, DJ Rodriguez, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a DC police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. He later confessed on video to the FBI and pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon?
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons. Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything. But I can say this. Murderers today are not even charged. You have murderers that aren't charged all over. You take a look at what's gone on in Philadelphia, take a look at what's gone on in LA, where people murder people and they don't get charged. These people have already served years in prison, and they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a terrible, terrible thing.
Says it's inappropriate to assault police officers and then makes excuses for the people who assaulted police officers. And then he says, well, you know, they've been in jail for a lot of years already and it's an inhumane prison. It's the worst. It's vicious. What'd you do about it? Did you just pardon these guys, let them go and say, fuck the rest of the people in there? Or are you looking into ways to make this inhumane prison more humane? Yeah, I already know the answer is no, because you actually don't give a shit about that. And then he says there are people in LA, in Philadelphia, who are murdering people and not being arrested. The fuck is he talking about? That is not true. And then in there, he even says, you know, we're looking into pardons and commutations. We don't know. You already pardoned him. He's telling you the guy was violent. He assaulted police officers and you pardoned him already. The fuck is this guy talking about? From Lauren Boebert to Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, these are all horrible people. Fuck them. Period.
Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in their heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.